Olivia Dodge is a visionary. Years ago, she saw the opportunity for providing nature-based education for people of all ages, and she's really tenaciously pursued that throughout her life. She had the clear vision to see what needed to be done and to lay out a series of steps, and more importantly, to invigorate people to follow through and to participate enthusiastically in her vision. Dodge Nature Center serves the community. It serves over 40,000 school children every year. There are 320 acres that are an educational preserve that are used for school children, adults, young children, and families. That's why when the opportunity to nominate someone as the Outstanding Philanthropist of the Year came along, it was an honor and a delight to nominate Mrs. Olivia Dodge.
Hi, this is Governor Tim Pawlenty, and I am honored to be part of the ceremony recognizing Olivia Dodge and her generosity and her service to Minnesota. We're at the governor's residence taping this, and I think of her a lot when we're here because our two young daughters play here and love it here and enjoy it a great deal. And of course, Olivia Dodge was a young girl and was raised in this house. Later in life, her family donated this to the state of Minnesota for use by the First Family for state functions. And it reflects her spirit of generosity. It also reflects our state's spirit of generosity. And we have a wonderfully generous state, one of the most generous in the nation. And she really is the poster person for that spirit of giving and philanthropy in Minnesota. We're grateful for that, and we're grateful for her. And we just want to help recognize and celebrate her wonderful tradition of giving.
Well, I started when I heard about this event that was going to take place, and it got me thinking, as we all should do one time or another, about how thankful we should all be for so many things in our lives. And I started looking back. And I thought how fortunate I am to be born an American, and how doubly fortunate I am to be a Minnesotan. It means a great deal to me. I love this state. And I was born into a family that I feel very fortunate about it. A wonderful mother and father, and I had two sisters and a brother. We were very close. How lucky I was. Sometimes families aren't that way. We have many tragedies in life. Nobody can escape them. And I've had my share, but you face up to those. Everybody has to learn that. Nobody can escape it, but you must face up to it, or either be destroyed, or you learn from it, and you turn it around and do good with it in some way that will help the community or other people. Now I'm 85 years of age, and I'm going to receive this award, philanthropic award. And I've said this often to other people. I feel, why should I have an award doing what I love to do and being happy all through the years doing it? But other people don't agree with me, so I'm going to receive this gift, and I want to thank everybody who's been involved in it and tell them I'm very grateful and appreciate it very much.
Olivia Irvine was born in 1918, the daughter of Horace Hills and Clotilde. She grew up on Summit Avenue in a house which is now the governor's residence, with her siblings Thomas, Elizabeth, and young Clotilde, or Tom, Lib, and Coco as they were more affectionately referred to. Here's the fence, which stands in front of the governor's residence today, and truly an extraordinary view of Summit Avenue in the early 1930s. summer months were spent at the family lake house on White Bear at the tip of Manitou Island. Here are some of the earliest scenes of Olivia bonding with nature. And yes, that's the same tree in the background a few years later. Her father, Horace Hills, was an industry leader in St. Paul and the president of Weyerhaeuser Timber Company. He, along with James J. Hill and others, were responsible for evolving railroads, banking, and other industry in the Twin Cities. He was also one of the founders of Northwest Airlines as a Minnesota-based company. Here are the family all together for a holiday party, Olivia on the right. Her sister Coco. Her brother Tom, whose wife Sally Ordway was well known for her work supporting the arts in the Twin Cities. Her other sister Lib on the right. And there are Horace and Clotilde. In 1958, now living in New York City, Olivia married Arthur Dodge, and they had a son they named Thomas. They split their time spending winters in New York and summers in St. Paul.
People passing by, I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry.
Here's Olivia with her mother in a clip from the backyard of the Summit Avenue home shortly before Clotilde passed away in 1964. Horace having died years earlier, and upon her mother's death, the remaining sisters, Olivia and Coco, made the decision to donate the house to the state of Minnesota.
Our special guest is Olivia Irvine Dodge. Thanks for being with us, Olivia.
Thank you very much.
Well, why don't we start out with how this residence came to be the governor's residence?
Well, it was, my mother lived here. My father died in 1947. My mother lived on here until 1964. And at that time, my sister and I were the only ones left of the immediate family, Clotilde, Churchill, Bowles. And we wanted to give this house for some good purpose. We didn't want to see it turn into apartment dwellings or downgrade it to where it wouldn't be nice. So we had several, we let it be known that we wanted to do this. And we had approached us and said, would you be interested in having this as a governor's residence? And we looked at each other, this is it. What could be better when so many of the states now do have governor's residence and we never have had one? It seemed the obvious answer. So that was a large place, but we loved it. We just loved it. We're very happy here, and it was a very happy home. There were lots of parties. Mother loved giving parties. There were always people coming and going. And we had different, when it was first built was what I wanted to say. They used to call it way out in the prairie. Why did they want to build a house way out in the prairie? And that's how it was then. There were just horses and buggies. And there were no cars.
And Summit Avenue was just dirt.
Yes. That's the way it was.
Were you
And
the
I
only
don't
home
hardly
out here?
remember it. I was born in 1918, so this is even before my time.
Throughout her life, Olivia remained active on the Governor's Residence Council and as an advocate to protect the house at 1006 Summit. The gift was carefully structured to ensure the house could never be sold or used for purposes other than that for which it was intended. Some governors failed to understand this, that the house was owned by the people and not the governor. First the Perpiches and later the Venturas. Olivia taking on Jesse was quite an event, with the media clearly residing in Olivia's corner.
The governor and I will propose to the 1990 legislative session that the legislature pass a bill authorizing the sale of the governor's residence and all of its contents.
And since then, they stopped giving public tours of the mansion, and a commission has refused to let the Perpiches sell any of the donated furnishings. Plus, there are other restrictions on the sale.
But today, a different attitude.
I didn't say I want to sell the house and move out of here. I didn't say that.
Meanwhile, the renovation has stopped.
But first,
we're making a mockery of ourselves.
shut the doors to save cash, the governor tangles with neighbors.
Then you get this idiot.
And state leaders in a mansion fight.
Dennis, Governor Jesse Ventura ordered the executive mansion shut down because he is upset about budget cuts to his office and to his personal security. Today, the feisty leader of the family that once lived here issued a public appeal to save what she pointedly called the people's residence. The Irvine family donated the historic mansion to the state more than 40 years ago. Now, Olivia Irvine Dodge is calling on the governor and lawmakers to end what she calls this nightmare.
I'm embarrassed by such unseemly behavior. I wholeheartedly concur. I'm sure most Minnesotans feel betrayal, as I do, that the doors to 1006 Summit Avenue are going to be shut in our faces and locked.
Remember, it's an election year, and clearly the Democrats and Republicans, their main goal is to get the big enchilada, which is my office.
The lack of civility, this gotcha time of politics that's going on by some legislators, it is a great destruction to the integrity and the reputation of this state. We're making a mockery of ourselves.
A woman whose cherished family home is being used as a political pawn couldn't agree more. There's the matriarch of the family who gave it to the state, who stopped in for a final goodbye.
Well, I've been very sad and very upset, as I think most Minnesotans are. It's their house. It's the people's house, which is the way I always envisioned it. And it will be so again.
But even as the First Lady arrived in a pickup to pack up the Ventura family's personal belongings, Minnesota's Attorney General was moving to keep the lights on.
This is just bordering on the ridiculous.
His legal opinion, the house must be maintained.
When you're in first grade and playing a game, and one of the little boys doesn't like the game, takes his ball and goes home. That's what I feel like here.
Drivers slowed as they went by the Summit Avenue mansion, or just stopped altogether to take one last look before the gates close for good.
I don't think they've got a right to close it down.
I'm deeply concerned over the latest developments.
Olivia Dodge used to have only fond memories of her childhood home on Summit. Now locked up, its staff sent packing, Dodge is ready to fight Governor Ventura.
Governor Ventura received the money he asked for and said the house would reopen last week. What a slap in the face to his staff, who will not be rehired. I shall continue my efforts.
Olivia Dodge is angry and wants answers. In St. Paul, Tony Berlin, WCCO.
I'm glad I was born in this house to have a chance to meet these lovely First Ladies. I was very fortunate.
And I'm glad that you gave us the house. I appreciate that. And to the next First Lady, good luck, babe.
After he died, I bought his last recorded...
Even later in life, Olivia enjoyed providing an occasional tour of the house and remained committed to sharing the story of this now historical landmark.
Never forgotten it. And where I began my Roosevelt collection. So Eleanor came and she had tea with us.
Even Eleanor Roosevelt once stopped by to meet Olivia and to view her extensive collection of items relating to her husband. One of the largest such collections in existence, it now resides at the University of Minnesota. Following the gifting of the house, Coco moved to the lake house on Manitou Island, and Olivia purchased land in West St. Paul. Moving to West St. Paul in 1965 proved to be a watershed moment for Olivia, out of which would emerge her life's work and passion. Following her acquisition of Dixie Slope, a beautiful 24-acre estate, it became apparent that the surrounding land, then owned by truck farmers, was rapidly being sold off to developers, and all the natural habitat and wildlife were being replaced with housing and apartment complexes. Olivia rapidly stepped in and purchased about 130 additional acres, which today still remains the central parcel of the Nature Center property bordered by Delaware, Wentworth, Marie, and Charlton Avenue. Olivia involved business leaders, educators, naturalists, community leaders, and interested neighbors to tour the property and make formal proposals for its use with conservation in mind. On September 8, 1967, a private nonprofit enterprise was formed, the Thomas Irvine Dodge Nature Center. The Nature Center's primary goal is to provide opportunities for learning about, enjoying, and preserving the gifts of nature. In 1967, most people had never heard of the term environmental education.
To save it for the future generations. There are over 1 million acres a year that are disappearing just in America alone. And it is timed, it must be stopped, and what little is left must be saved so that the future generations can appreciate their natural resources and guard their land.
And a sense of accomplishment in doing as well as studying. And that's what the Nature Center is all about, having the children learn by doing.
Leave it out so everybody can see it. I guess that concludes the performance today. And I want to thank all the volunteers and the staff and the judges, and above all, the students who make it all possible. Thank you very much.
In 1974, Olivia led the Minnesota Garden Club on a cleanup and restoration of St. Paul's Swede Hollow, turning it from what had become a dumping ground into a beautiful historic park. In 1975, Olivia founded a second nature center, the Irvine Natural Science Center, created on the campus of St. Timothy's School in Baltimore, Maryland. Today, Irvine provides 500 program sessions annually to 50,000 children and adults. Irvine also welcomes visitors to explore its 116 acres of woodlands, wetlands, and meadows, its exhibit hall, nature store, and walking trails. Similar to the Dodge Nature Center in Minnesota, the mission of Irvine is to expose children and adults to the importance of environmental literacy, the importance of environmental stewardship, with the goal of creating a concern for the planet that translates into actions that help preserve the natural world and create a healthier planet. I think we need to take a moment to get to know the person, because aside from all of her impressive accomplishments, Olivia was a very fun person to know. She was well-read, intelligent with a great sense of humor. She was an amazing mother and later grandmother. She was a great hockey fan, and her Halloween and New Year's Eve parties were legendary. She valued her Scottish heritage and once had a family reunion where she built the Irvine genealogy and family tree dating back to 1200 AD. Irvines flew in from all over the world to attend.
Mommy. What? Is very good at basketball. We're 75 years old.
I hope he'll be just as good when he gets to that age.
Oh, Miss Dodge.
Who's got the camera? Get the camera quick.
Oh, cute.
Two, three. We're going to do one more. Here we go.
I don't know, I don't believe that we'll ever have each one of us together again, quite like this. And I'd like you all to hold hands or exchange arms, and we're all going to sing Auld Lang Syne for a very memorable, wonderful time. Some of you won't be on the boat tomorrow, so I especially want to do it tonight. Bless you, all of you.
In 1980, the first Dodge Nature Center benefit dinner was held, a tradition that continues today as a major fundraising activity. Here are a few clips from the 25th anniversary edition in 1992, honoring Olivia in one of the more memorable benefits to date. Held at the St. Paul Hotel, the event combined black tie with staff adorned in wildlife. Olivia was escorted by Bill Vold and was honored for her work throughout the evening. Here are a few highlights.
We would like to give you hundreds of letters from all of the kids in our district to say thank you, Mrs. Dodge.
These were letters prepared by literally hundreds of students in the District 197 schools in West St. Paul. And the last, on even higher quality stationery than the last two, the letterhead reads simply, "The White House, Washington," not even a zip code. "Dear Mrs. Dodge, Barbara and I are delighted to send congratulations as you celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Thomas Irvine Dodge Nature Center. As a result of your vision a quarter of a century ago, citizens from across the state can now travel to West St. Paul to visit one of our nation's premier urban nature centers. Whether they come to study the center's unique ecosystems and the wildlife that inhabit them, to visit its weather station, or to participate in one of its many community-oriented activities, they leave with a new appreciation of our natural environment and a greater understanding of all that we must do to protect and preserve it. I am pleased to commend you for your caring and your dedication. With warm best wishes, sincerely, George Bush."
I am very proud to be able to introduce to you a person who I love and respect more than I can tell you. She is one of the leading philanthropists in our state, supporting over 200 nonprofits annually. She has served on the board of directors for numerous organizations, including the National Science for Youth Foundation, the St. Paul Children's Hospital, the Minnesota Zoological Society, and the Governor's Residence Council. Her many awards and accomplishments include the Founders Fund and Conservation Achievement Awards from the National Garden Club of America for her leadership in the restoration of St. Paul's Swede Hollow, the 1985 Environmental Awareness Award from the American Society of Landscape Architects, the 1991 Albert Schweitzer Award from the Minnesota Federated Humane Societies in recognition of her outstanding efforts to relieve animal suffering, And the list goes on to include over 20 others. But what is much more important than all this is that she is genuine and totally sincere about everything she does, because what she does always comes from the heart. Please welcome someone whose everyday commitment to caring is as impressive as her lifetime accomplishments, someone who is truly making the world a better place for future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Olivia Irvine Dodge.
How lucky can you get? I was told, oh, you can't know the program. Now you just stay out of it, and we'll let you know what's going to... Oh! Nicholas! Thank you. In case anyone doesn't know, that's Nicholas Irvine Dodge, my youngest grandson. And dedicated a group as you could ever find. And then we have you givers, the supporters that keep the engine running. We are headed toward the 21st century with a very competent and enthusiastic group with excellent plans and goals that are going to be reached. Now, I want to thank all of you for your participation in this benefit tonight. Enjoy yourself, have a wonderful evening, and God bless you all.
Olivia became quite an inspirational public speaker, and because of her genuineness and ability to connect with an audience, when she spoke it provided great insight into who she really was.
We have reached a success far beyond what I had envisioned. Why is that? The time was right. The need was there. And most important of all, we believed heart and soul in what we were about to do. With these ingredients in place, you attract the individuals who will build your dream with you and make it a success. It has been a wonderful and exciting 29 years. Many very high moments and also some lows. But that's what life is all about, the challenges that keep you alert and growing. May I wish for all of you the realization of your dreams and aspirations, and I would like to close with this marvelous philosophy from the Sanskrit. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. God bless all of you. Thank you. Young people by the thousands are growing up with no traditional moral values, no family stability, with schools letting them decide what is right and what is wrong. Religion, or a better word to me, spirituality, is totally lacking in their lives, and I might add, in persons in high places of responsibility. Greed has taken over like some giant octopus. No wonder young people watch and grow cynical. They have no lifeline to cling to, no higher power to believe in, no role model to follow. When problems seem insurmountable, then I remember the wise and wonderful words of a grandmother to her grandson, which resulted in the Mountain Lake Sanctuary in Lake Wales, Florida, a beautiful and serene setting for all to partake and come away refreshed. The words which caused Mr. Bach to create this oasis were these: "Make you the world a bit better or more beautiful, because you have lived in it." If we give children this philosophy and instill in them the morals and values so sadly lacking in our time, then hopefully they will be equipped to deal with their future when it comes upon them. I'd like to paraphrase a quote that I once read. There are two worlds within the Dodge Nature Center, one transient, one not. The first is alive with new faces and fresh causes which give it energy. The other cherishes tradition, seniority, and old friendships, which give it dignity. Both worlds are equally important, but tonight we honor the second, which is cherishing tradition and seniority and old friendships. It's you, my friends, many of you from the beginning, who believed in the dream, who worked tirelessly to achieve the dream, and who were faithful stewards to the dream. You're here tonight so that I can show our appreciation for all that you've done and to celebrate together what you have accomplished. You are a team which can rightly be called the architects of the Thomas Irvine Dodge Nature Center. I feel so grateful that I'm still here at 82 years of age to be able to thank you with all my heart for helping to make all this possible. I love you, I cherish you for sharing our dream and helping to make it a reality. God bless you, every one of you.
In the year 2000, one of the first nature-based preschools in the country was opened adjacent to the model farm. The Dodge Nature Preschool hosts 180 students ages 3 through 5, using the inherent wonder, complexity, and beauty of nature as a catalyst for a child's growth and development.
The results are an educational building over at the farm and this beautiful preschool, which is just a miracle to us. I want to thank everybody who has had a part in this, and there are many.
These are the people that have made this possible and made it work. And I think, Olivia, if you would cut the ribbon for us, I think that would be wonderful. Right in the center. Thank you.
Olivia will be remembered as a warm and engaging person whose smile, energy, and passion affected so many people in positive and unforgettable ways. The first students to visit the Dodge Nature Center are now in their 40s and 50s, and many have children of their own attending programs at the center or the preschool. In 2010, the center hosted its 1 millionth visitor.
Well, good evening, and it is indeed a pleasure to be with you this evening, just to welcome you and to share a few thoughts about our state and the Thomas Irvine Dodge Nature Center. And when you think of Olivia Dodge, you may not think of the word courage. You may think of generosity. You may think of a grace and an elegance and a charity. But when I think of Olivia Dodge, one of the words that I think about is courage. And the reason I say that is because there's a definition of courage that I really like and I want to share with you this evening, and that is a willingness to share yourself in a cause, in service and sacrifice for a cause that is greater than ourselves. And if you study her life, as I have tried to do, you see a life that is filled of not only living well, but living very generously and graciously and being a tremendous steward for our community and our environment and our state. And that spirit, I think, reflects the entire operation of the Dodge Nature Center. We have many people here tonight who gather around to support and encourage the center. It needs that to continue its mission and its very important work. A famous person once said that people begin to understand the meaning of life when they plant shade trees under which they will never sit. And for a while, Olivia and all of the stewards of this fine center are able to sit under the shade tree for a while. But more importantly, this is a shade tree that will be able to be enjoyed for generations and generations to come. Thank you. And to Olivia Dodge, I want to say thank you for your vision, thank you for your generosity, thank you for your stewardship, and thank you for being such a wonderful, tremendous citizen of the state of Minnesota. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
I want to tell you that I will, at any time, attach my name to something like this, which has the word volunteer. I will always be there for a volunteer. That's what I want to speak about tonight.
That's a very, very happy 85th birthday to Mrs. Olivia Irvine Dodge. Right there.
It boggles my mind to think of 40 years of how much we've accomplished. Every single day, it's been exciting and it's been a challenge, so every one of those days was an experience never to forget. What would be my hope? Obviously that this would be able to continue and grow. I'm not talking about materially or buildings, but grow in new ideas in teaching and new ways as things change year by year. Keep up with the times and be as wonderful as we are today.